thanks, Traeger. Sound check, sound check, sound check. Awesome. Good. If you hear me, that's fine. Cool. Oops, that's the wrong one. Always do that. What's up, Chris? Just rolling on here, waiting for guests.
Hi, welcome back to Gamescape 3D. Today we're going to do a speed paint of one of our little peasant houses to show how easy these things are to paint. Here's the peasant house I have to paint today. It has been primered black. Okay, so we're all ready to go. So I got about 3 minutes into it so far. We got the base, we got the roof.
How are you?
And then we have.
I'm okay. How you doing?
All right. I've been a little fatigued lately, tired, under the weather. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I stopped all caffeine, all coffee and stuff cold turkey. And it's probably what it is. I'm having.
That sounds like something that you might have wanted to step down a bit and not just.
Yeah, I probably should have, but I didn't. So
well, there you go. But then you get over it faster. It's just going to hurt you more in the meantime. Yeah.
Because I have a feeling I'll be drinking some at GaryCon as it is, just to keep up with stuff. But right now, you know, just like I gotta do some right things before my surgery. You know, so that's what I do.
The filament's supposed to run through, can get clogged up on your resin doors. Sometimes the resin.
So no Mike this week.
Oh, is that true?
I don't know. He's not here yet, but he might hopefully still come. So yeah.
I think he's coming this week. He didn't tell me he wasn't.
Wonderful. Yep.
We'll see.
You need to clean it out. If you do,
I have to log into Twitch and all that here too.
5/64 is the size you need.
Okay.
To clean out those holes.
Yeah, I think he's here.
So if I have a door there, I might just.
Okay. Let's see what we got here. Hey man, you got a game? It's all good. Just if you can lurk, that's great. If not, no biggie.
Yeah, have a fun game, Dragger here.
Yep.
And thank you for being here. Yep.
So we got those holes cleaned out. Should be plenty of room now for our filament. And we will continue on.
It's early here, but let me do this. Start that.
Right, the first thing I'm going to be doing is applying brown onto the timber frames.
Okay.
And I'm going to use a pretty good sized brush. I don't care about getting brown everywhere for this first part.
Alrighty.
Practice preferred. So there's my brown again. Kind of
busy
lighter
week.
Side of a mid-tone.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't want to use so much.
It's gearing up for GaryCon.
Yeah, I'm a little behind. I'm starting to box up everything I need for it.
Yeah, I'm starting to feel like I might be able to catch up.
Hey, Jeremy.
I have to prep my game. That's the big thing that I haven't really got to yet. And at that, it's really getting close to what I have to.
4 games.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Do make sure you kind of hit the tops and the bottoms of your timbers. Okay? Don't just paint the face of these things, because you're not going to be coming back later to hit these sides.
We're good. Good on time.
This is kind of...
Your repurposed freighter drifts through space. As you stare out at the star-flecked void, another ship comes in.
Wait, Mike.
Is this
I got those books today.
I thought
Thanks.
You agreed on a World War II campaign. Oh.
In Northlands Books and CNC.
That's
Thank
cool.
you.
I can pivot.
Wait, let me check this. I think I updated that shout out too.
Nostrils. Hold up. I thought we were prepping for a zombie apocalypse campaign.
Hey, Keith.
All right, here's what we're doing. It's the year 3700. Humanity's elite fled to other planets long ago, taking with them all forms of advanced technology. Earth survivors scrape by with historic tools as weird phenomena plague abandoned nuclear sites. Witnesses report seeing glowing lights and the dead rising from their graves. And amidst the chaos, 3 strangers will meet in a dim bar. A veteran zombie slayer, a disgraced general out for revenge, and a space mercenary sent to investigate the power plants. Now describe your characters.
Oh, cool, man.
How did you do that? I have the right tools for the job.
Alrighty. Let's see if I have this shouted out correctly. There we go. Ed on Sunday night, which is great. Birthday stream on Saturday morning. That is the wrong shout out. Saturday. I never updated that one. Aha! Thought I did. I guess I didn't. Actually, I guess I could do that right this minute if I had a second. I thought I had done that.
A story once spoken is ageless. The dungeon imagined without end. The curious are the ones most courageous. The tree that endures has to bend. From stillness the mad mage is stirring. From countless voices the castle takes shape. Zagig will test the enduring. Those unlucky will never escape.
I did it again. It does it sometimes. It's weird. I have no idea why it does it sometimes. It's bizarre. Oh, it's only 6:52. Wow. Very strange. Towns, villages, and there's a lot of them. What's that? Is today 5th? Yeah, it's today's 5th. But I got the wrong date down? I do have the wrong date down on that. Don't want to tell. Yeah, I'm lucky if I know what day of the week it is lately. Duh. Yep. Let's see what we got. this is wrong. No, that's right. I did. So I put the fit. Yeah, that's weird. All right. Well, who knows why? Mistakes are made. Mistakes by me. Good evening, Anna. Yeah, I got the wrong date. I got March 6th down, and that's weird. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't really advertise for this one. Just was so busy yesterday. So, how are you, Anna? Things. We don't know if Mike's coming on or not. So, if not, we'll just two of us can roll with this. Got a good one coming here. With we're just going to go throughout GREYHAWK and talk about towns or cities that we'd like and discuss what makes them unique. You know, I think it'll be cool. There's some small ones, large ones. Doesn't matter the size. Some of them may have maps. Some of them may not. So. You know, that'll be some fun things we're going to discuss. Here, just for those that are on already, and I'll shut this out again at the end. Tomorrow night. Ah, shit. I didn't mean to do that. There you go. No, seriously, I did not mean to do. So, a Rob Kuntz adventure I'm starting. Karen of the Skeleton King, I'm starting it tomorrow. So, with the regulars, Iron Fury, multi-weeker. It's obviously in the Cairn Hills outside of GREYHAWK. And I'm tying it into a long-term plot arc. So that is tomorrow. So I'm actually running a Rob adventure, and then, we have the birthday stream Saturday morning at 9 a.m. So we got Coco, Timothy, Rachel, and Mark from Marquis and Korg, Nuclear Meat, and Legends do return. Number 1100. Jeez. And then Sunday night is Ed Greenwood's back. So a nice weekend. What's up, Chuck? Mm-hmm. Got a nice weekend going on coming up for all the content we have. It'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. Yep. So Legends do return. Yeah, I know. That doesn't make much sense. I'm doing a lot of titles, so you don't really know what the hell's going on. So, yeah, right, Bill. So, all right, Anna. So, what do you want to get out of this discussion tonight?
A couple of things. One, to think about settlements of all sizes and their role in your adventures, and their role in GREYHAWK, and then examples of different types, because there are settlements. And I use the term settlement, so we cover everything from like small villages all the way up to the biggest cities. But meaning they're different roles, and they can fill different purposes in your adventuring. They have different adventure opportunities and stuff due to very different nature that is normally don't talked about much, so to speak. So these are some of the aspects that I think we need to discuss today.
Cool.
That I think could be interesting.
Mike. We're just babbling a little bit, Mike. And notice it went right to the second screen this time. I fixed that.
That's good.
So, we're just talking a little bit. Mike, how are you? Cities, towns, and villages tonight on a nice. Oh, so the giveaway's going. Classic D&D reprints as usual. What do I have beyond the normal ones? Let's see here. Got a lot of Ravenloft ones. I think. I got a mark here. So if you don't want the treasures and or the new Gazetteer, here's some options for you. I got a Vecna Reborn, right, and I also have a Marklands. So they'd be good ones, and then there may be some other ones to find as well. So just note those are available along with a plethora of others. And then I got a special surprise for Josh if Josh shows up. And some other of you just busting my balls so you understand what I said. So thank Michael Zudrek, thank you for I gave these out in the 5e version. He sent me the Castles and Crusades versions. Look at these, Chuck. You don't have these, and I do. And they say CNC on them. See that? All three of them. So it's a Player's Guide to Northland. So a whole bunch of cool barbarian classes in here and CNC rules. And then they're both adventures are in CNC. So really cool. At least I think so. So Mike, what do you want to get out of this discussion with town, cities, whatever? Town, cities, villages, whichever ones you want to discuss. You can just,
Yeah. I had some notes somewhere, but I seem to have lost them.
Yeah, you can just bring them off the top of your head.
You can wing this, yeah.
You can wing
I'm sure
this
you
one.
have some cool blog posts somewhere that will pop in the discussion here.
That's what I got.
The notes was where to go at the blog post.
Yeah, I had Mike's A to Z's brought this up. He has like A to Z lists.
Okay.
And I was thinking when I was scrolling through that. First observation: what population for each at what date? Oh my gosh, yeah, that would my head would explode. See, BB, I don't even worry about that stuff. I know a lot of people. It's just too much.
I did that on Critwall. I even made a map for Critwall at probably around 100, 200, minus 200 CY, and then another one at around 200 CY, and then one near 600, like 598 in my campaign 599. So I made 3 different, so I could track the progress of the city, because I couldn't just create a big city from nowhere. I needed to know where it came from. That way I could design it so it evolved gradually. So I needed to know, okay, it started this way, and then kind of basically design in all where the streets and the different places came through history, so to speak. That to me was the only way I could design a city.
That is awful Len Kafka like, Anna.
Yeah, it's worse than Len Kafka.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
He takes the Excel spreadsheet and put it in there.
Right.
He's better than me. Yeah.
So a thing to help here, and if you all have Cannon Fire, you can get that up, everyone. And I thought I had it. There it is. This is pretty cool, right? So this is right on the front page. You can link to this, and like I said, if I want to go here, oh, what's this? Metric. Oh, does it have a map? Yeah, it does. So there. So if it's large enough, not small ones, but we can go and we can link that. What's up, Patrick? Good to see you. We can link that to this here as well. So we have this option. So I'll have this up on the screen as well when we look at cities and we look at locations. So like I have major cities I use, Hardby and Greyhawk and Narwhal and then Altamira, but a lot of the other cities I don't need to know the demographics, right? But I want to know something about them. But I don't need to know, for me, it's just, because we're not there enough. So, Gary Con. You're going to see some stuff with Len at Gary Con. Absolutely. Yep. So I really like this map. This was a great idea. So, but then again, you can't get down to the minutia on this map. When you go into the Anna map, you can really get down into the minutia here, right? So, yep. All right. So, I'll start myself. How's that sound? And I'll leave Critwall to you. Yeah, absolutely. So, here. I'm going to go right here because I'm going to discuss a couple small ones, right? And that is right here. And if you want to go to From the Ashes, you can take a look here. You got 1 ford and 2 ford. Now, the number one thing is, how can there be fords in a river that's navigable, right? So it's a mystery. We don't need to get into that. But there's a lot of really small locations that are shown.
But it doesn't need to be a mystery. Maybe it started out as a ford.
That's
and then
true.
when the town grew up, they dug it out so bigger boats could pass. They built a bridge, etc. So the ford might have been there originally. And then when the river became more traffic and stuff, then the river traffic got the upper hand, and they widened the channel and made it into much more river traffic and built a bridge that they can open and close and so on and so forth. But the town is still ford, but there is no ford anymore. The ford might be there 500 years ago when it started. You never know. So yeah.
Yeah. So here's 2 ford.
Yeah, that might have been an island in the middle, and a ford and an island and a ford again. 2 ford. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's see what it says here. Population of 325, makes his living in some service industry. It says ore from Diamond Lake is sold here. And they have a garrison of 24 men of arms, but it doesn't say. The indigenous population of 2 ford is a very strange bunch of people. Many years ago, a priest of Zilchist converted them all to his beliefs. That's what I kind of like, the weirdness here. His teachings revolved around the premise that goodwill and good service to others is the key to favor of his patron deity. See, I don't know if that is really what Zilchus is about, but okay. So
it's like real world religions. You can
yeah,
interpret them in many different ways. They
yeah.
change over time by different demographics and so on. So yeah.
So yep, it just it's an interesting. But it doesn't say that the ford is there. That's true. And then there's one ford that's a little bit larger.
Yeah.
Previously, its history was similar to that of two ford. But now it has a garrison of 40 men at arms, so it's got way more. So it's boat building here. So yeah, one for its major claim, its population, edible gravel eels that are harvested each fall. Said that Zagig blasted the great pits into existence while searching for some hidden magical treasure. So yummy. Yeah, that sounds tasty.
Eel is a big delicacy in a lot of places.
It is, absolutely.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then lastly, in this area is where I didn't get. I had Troll's Piss before this place, but when I saw this, I was like, "Well, that's cool." And that's in between them is Peculiar Manor. So is it a town?
No, it's the mansion of one Dame something from the A series. The A series starts at her manor. You guess there,
right? Sandre Moshin.
Yeah, whatever her name, I forgot.
No, it's a he actually. It says.
Oh, he. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So you guess there, and then that kicks off the campaign, I think.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
So he has one arm, but he has an ale, Old Peculiar. Okay. Mm-hmm. And it's brewed in cellars. The recipe says is given to him by an ancient Klatchberg
dwarf. Yeah, Dame Gold. Yes, that yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
Dame Gold. That's the host of that get together, if I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What's up there, Tim? Hopefully you're ready to die during the birthday stream. Yeah. So Old Peculiar is jet black and so heavy that some say it's best not drunk, but eaten with a fork. It tastes like liquid peat and is served in half pints. No one alive has ever claimed to down more than 2 pints. Well, yes. So there you go. Well, we had a couple people succeed in the Lord Peakshaven test. We had which was fun. So there you go. There's 3 of them right there. One's really not a town, but the other 2 are small towns that have played a role a little bit in my campaign. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, all sorts of stuff, man. With castle zagging and everything else going on. I agree 100%. So, like I said, I love the area. I love this whole area between Harby, Greyhawk. There's so much here, but it's not that tight. It's not completely, it's spread out a bit. So, yep, that's a cool one. I'll do some other further south in this area. Who wants to go next with ones anywhere on the map and discuss?
I was thinking we should discuss a little bit why are there settlements and why are some of them big and small? Meaning, what are the basic idea? Why do they grow up where they do? And what are the meaning criteria number 1? There needs to be people or the whatever culture type of creature that inhabits them, so to speak. You need a certain density of them in an area, but they don't necessarily. I get to there's a couple of exceptions to this too, but generally settlements come because there's high enough density of people in an area, and they have a tendency want to interact with each other because it's profitable. You can trade goods, you can exchange ideas, and you can marry each other and have little kids and all of the social kind of community building, so to speak, nation building, and that is profitable. Meaning, throughout history, settlements are more profitable than and generate more revenue and income and protection value, whatever. In almost all the metrics concentrate the creatures in one area, and everything goes up. You have more ideas, more economy, more output, more defense possibilities, and all of that. And those are the general tendencies, so to speak. So some cities are kind of obvious. If you have good farming land over a large area, people get together in order to buy seed, to exchange livestock, and do all the practicalities of surviving. And you better do that in one area. So then you have the embryo of cities in farming areas are usually like when you have markets and so on, and even nomads like that, they get at certain times of the year for big festivities and so on. So you have temporary settlements, and then they become permanent and so on. And so there you have, and the next kind of after that is the settlements that come because they are on a route from one place to another. You don't need a large farming community and lots of people around, but a lot of people travel from one to the other. And that can be overland, meaning there are settlements that pop up to serve the travelers on the way and so on. And they can also be big port cities. There are port cities that are simply there because they want to go ashore and rest a bit or resupply and so on. But and some of, especially on land, some of them are now we're getting into the cities that are in places where there are no people. And those are cities that are built either because there happen to be a resource there, like mines or something like that, but even cities that are there simply to make a statement. There are cities and maybe not bigger cities, but smaller ones, especially towns and villages and stuff that are there simply to stake a claim. If you're an emperor and you want to guard a border and a wilderness and you want a bunch of rangers, look at the from the movies where they're up at the wall. You had the rangers who was up there guarding the wall. They live out nowhere, and you can see that. So you have settlements that are there as a military outpost, that they don't support themselves financially or anything. They're supported by the crown, who wants them there, so to speak, and send food and fresh recruits and stuff. So these are some of the basic tenets of settlements that can fall into all sorts of these categories, so to speak.
Okay. Makes sense. Then some don't make sense where they are. Maybe
exactly. Some of the they make sense, but not the same sense as others, so to speak. And one other factor that is kind of universal through settlement history, the bigger they are, the more liberal in, and I'm not using the term in the political scientific way, meaning open for new ideas, less harassment and stuff like that, more open for business and stuff, simply because when you put a lot of creatures in one spot, you have to accept others being different from you way more than people who live out in the countryside. You can say, oh, I don't like my all my neighbors are like me, so everything is fine. In a big city, simply by default, it becomes more beneficial when there's all sorts of like trade cities and stuff. The bigger they are, they're usually more open to new ideas, politically, economically, socially, and stuff. And if you want that to be the case in a fantasy world, that makes for interesting possibilities. It doesn't necessarily have to be that way. A garrison city, for instance, might be even more less liberal than all the surroundings. It might be harsh and single-minded and super controlled. So there are definitely exceptions to this rule, which can make it more fun, so to speak, and interesting from a gaming perspective.
Never thought of it that way. On that.
So if you have like elven adventurers, if they go around some places, they might be seen, tolerated, or even welcomed. In other places, that might be shunned or hated, or arrows will be flung at them from the walls just at the sheer look at them. The same thing with humanoids.
It's in a fantasy setting. I think a lot of the rules of standard civilization, human civilization on Earth go out the window because you're not having. Dorica is not very liberal. You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly. But Dorica is probably way more liberal than other places. In liberal in that sense that they accept Dorica might want to have business. They want to have, if you're a really good swordsmith or armorer or someone who can do trade like that, you might be welcome in Dorica. Simply because they need your services, and you might be changed somewhere with something.
Yeah, I think they're going to.
Well, but I think
you're being yeah.
Well, it depends probably, and now we're getting into these interesting things. It's like for the masses, no, they just rely on slavery. But the top echelon, they want their special weapons and their whatever, so to speak. So yeah, so they're. Meaning they bribe a few and enslave the majority. That's how every tyranny on Earth works.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess that I use is probably the same way. Yeah.
What were you saying there, Mike?
One-way trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Oh yeah, that might very well be for all of them, so to speak. Because once you've been there and seen the secrets, very few people get out. Yeah.
So, all right, Mike, you got one you want to discuss that you like, use, found interesting?
Well, I will mention that since I started a Parentland campaign, I'm starting to regret it in a way. Because in using Anna's map, I have become bogged down in trying to figure out the politics of the place.
There's so much here, yeah.
Then you get
sorry.
intrigued by the naming of the places, and get my nose into living GREYHAWK research, and it's all fascinating, but it's like a quicksand of for time, because how much of it will I really use? And so I got to really distill it down to the stuff I will use, which right now is Traft.
Right. Okay.
Which I find it kind of. I'm glad I picked Traft as a location because it seems so remote, but it's actually kind of close to the action in a way.
Is it a capital? It looks large, or is it
the capital of a canton?
Yeah, exactly. So provincial capital.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. And there is not much. Well, okay. Again, maybe in Living GREYHAWK there are maps of the place.
If you can find them, yeah.
If you can find them, right. No, what I find right now interesting about the place is its relationship with the lake.
Right.
And with the sepia uplands.
Okay.
So there is
cool.
Traft being this provincial capital, it's driving everything in every direction. There's something going on from it, which is tantalizing, for running a campaign. It's like City of GREYHAWK. That's what you want, is a good hub.
Right.
Yeah. And Mike, I can entice you. Have you read the Traft City Visitor's Guide?
No.
I have.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Yes. I had no idea it existed.
It exists. Traft City Visitor's Guide. I have no idea where it comes. It's part of the Living Grey. It's a Living GREYHAWK document.
I expect 90% of anything on Thailand to be Living Grey.
And it has a dark wave crime syndicate thingy there.
Okay. Yeah.
And they talk about the history and their map keys, and there's 9 city districts and stuff like that. So there is a Traft City Visitors Guide.
Make sure he gets that. It may help him in his campaign.
Oh yeah,
tourism board. Yes.
Yep.
What's the relationship?
Well, it's definitely the launching point. I didn't say we spent much time in Traft yet, but that might help. Now, while I'm in the area, though, there is a new thing on DM's Guild. Someone put up a 5e Schwarzenbrunnen thing, and I did, because of starting my campaign, I did take a bite and look at that, and it is surprisingly useful since I'm running 5e.
Cool.
It's 5e compatible. I think I would probably defer to any Living GREYHAWK scraps I get, because they just seem to have the feel of the place. I believe the author of the Schwarzenbrunnen product, this was from his home campaign. So
yeah, I think so.
I could, if I game there long enough, I perhaps have something just as well. So between Schwarzenbrunnen and Traft, those would have to be the 2 major cities I'm dealing with here. And so right now I'm like this open book on vacuuming up any knowledge I can get on these areas of Parentland. If anyone else is gamed in with that area, or
very cool,
has a tourist guide.
Courtney.
And I can imagine that Traft, one of the dynamics is that the one between Schwarzenbrunn and Traft, they reinforce each other because they are probably located across the lake, because the lake is a good trading route. So it's much easier to go across the lake than it is to go around it, especially when it's mountainous and stuff. So there you have it. And Traft probably, a lot of it is probably some fishing and stuff, but probably a lot of it is trade from, if you live up in the mountains and you have resources and you produce stuff, then you go to Traft to sell it, and then you go to Traft to buy all the stuff you can't make yourself, and so on, provide it. So it sounds like that.
There are 3 Schwarzenbrunn maps in here, but no Traft maps.
Yeah, I think I've seen them.
It's not the city visitors guide doesn't have much of a map. There is a map, but it's terrible, so it's not much to write home about. Yeah.
Well, so I noticed this place near here, Nomiskillen.
Nomiskillen.
Yeah, it's one of these living Greyhawk stuff. So, I think.
Yeah, places like that where that would seem quite obvious. It's an enclave of gnomes.
Yeah.
Some of them other places, I'm hitting translators and whatnot all the time, just for any kind of insight on what this town's about. And in my diggings, I have found so many villages that are not on Anna's map that I believe that she's selectively not putting stuff in there.
There's some I've ignored,
too much of it.
So yes,
because this is really tight with a bunch on it. Not as bad as Riverwalk. That area in the Cron Hills, but this is close. Yeah, there's a lot here.
Would be good.
Yeah. When you mention Traft, if you go down just south, about 30 miles south of Traft, there is a ruined city called Dagovac.
I plan on using that, Anna.
Yeah, and that is just an example. So probably Traft might not be that old. Dagovac might be the older version of it, and that will succumb to some undead plague or whatever it was. I forgot it. It was something that happened, and this is probably they conjured all these stories in Living Greyhawk. So Dagovac might have been the original Traft, and then had a calamity. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
stuff going on there. Yeah. So between Dagovac, the Igwilves, Horn, and the that adventure, the Sojkamp and Egzag go in the Mountains of Dawn. There's a lot of ruin sites that I plan on using. But for now, we're just running around, getting familiar with the towns and their relationships.
Nice.
And that's, I think, another cool thing. Settlements have histories. They rise, fall, and then rise again, maybe, and be replaced by someone else. There's competition and rivalry even within a country, especially economic rivalry, but in sometimes outright military rivalry. So
the end game is, what parts of Pearland do the players then start to favor? Who owes them favors, who's given the most work, etc. And when they get to a certain level where they might want to start their own domain or settlement or whatever, what part of Pearland are they going to want to plop down? And so to do that, I kind of have to introduce them to the different areas.
Oh, so that's cool. You're giving them options. That's good.
Yeah.
So you said that there was a relationship between Traft and the Sepia Highlands, uplands. What did you mean by that?
Well, so it might be in the published sources, but also Living Greyhawk there's a lot of gnomes, dwarves, demi-human folk in the Sepia uplands, and Pearland keeps creeping up into their land, annexing stuff here and there. Right now, they say, Traft is on good relations with gnomes, is what I've read. Well, that's good, all and good, until they start gobbling up more places like Nomiskillen. Nomiskillen is not part of Pearland. It should not be part of Pearland.
Right. Okay.
It's maybe a recent grab, but I believe anything like the borders of Pearland should stop at the Sepia Upland. So if there's anything on Anna's map that belongs to, it's a recent settlement or land grab.
This is one of these examples. I've mentioned it before. That's the problem from a map maker. Do you have claimed territory or do you have controlled territory? And on the public map, I'm using claimed territory, meaning what do Pearland claim to control?
Right.
I mean, that's how we do it in the real world too on maps. But so I kind of made that assumption. Now I'm much more like, I should switch to controlled and make narrow, and then simply say, well, if you don't control it, it doesn't matter if you claim it. So on my campaign map, I'm starting to switch. There's a lot of countries who got significantly smaller that way, and there's a lot of areas that aren't controlled or by anybody, so to speak. And so I'm skipping claimed and move to controlled. So I'm thinking about making that switch.
Does not control as much as they say they do.
Exactly. And I started making that switch, but then a lot of people complained because it didn't match their perception, because on the old map, the borders were way out and it was easy because we live in an area where every part of the planet is claimed by someone and it shows up on a map. But in the medieval world, and I think in a fantasy world like GREYHAWK, there's way more wilderness that is not really controlled by anybody and maybe even not even claimed by anybody. But I'm making that shift for my campaign map, and I'm going to release more versions of that in the future, and then we'll see if that is good verdicts or people like it or people dislike it. We'll see. Yeah.
All right.
Excellent.
Yep.
Good one, Mike.
Yeah, excellent little corner.
Hope you have fun with. Hope you have fun with it all.
Yeah, now if we stay in the area, there's a couple of another because almost all of the cities naturally are along the lake, because that's a really good way to communicate and do trade effectively. Meaning it's so much easier to move goods and stuff on water instead of land, especially in a mountainous area. But there is one exception, and that's Exag. Yeah. There's that city, that free city up in the mountains, and when I see an exception like that kind of breaks the normal rule, there needs to be a reason. And since Exag is a big city, it needs probably more than one reason. And the two reasons I can come up with that made Exag both up in the mountains and also fairly big are, one, there's dwarves and others who dig up a lot of precious stuff out of the mountains. So that gives an economy, but I also think it's a survivor from old in that sense that when you had Oridians coming in, taking over, there were a lot of people who fled, Flan and others, and then you had Igwilv who controlled the area and so on. So even more people wanted to flee. And I think Exag is one of these places they fled to that wasn't controlled by neither. It was actually able to sustain itself and stay out of trouble, so to speak. And that's probably, at least in my opinion, that's the reason it's both up there in the mountains. Their economy is decent, so you can support it, and they got an influx of people for various political reasons, so to speak, through time.
Not an easy place to get to.
Exactly, and that was probably why it survived. Yeah.
Well, Denver's in the middle of nowhere too, when you think about it, right?
Yeah, but on the other hand, Denver is also sprung up in an area where it didn't have to have that much military threats by others and stuff like that. True. Yeah.
But for mining.
But it's right. Yeah, exactly. And mining usually tend to be way out nowhere, so to speak.
Yeah,
So, okay. Because mining is usually, agriculture areas are mostly done on flat floodplains and stuff that are really good for mining. You don't find that many minerals there in more than the occasional bog iron and gold in rivers and stuff. But apart from these things, most minerals are found in rocks up in various hills and mountains and stuff. So therefore
they
tend to.
Again?
I don't know how old it is. I just assumed
There's a whole Dungeon magazine article about that.
Yeah, there is.
Supposed to be
exactly.
Super ancient.
Yeah, I think it's ancient. Yeah, I have the.
So it's probably had different, settlers over time.
Yep.
Nice. Excellent.
And then one more in the area is Ugrabalan. We can mention on the northern shore of the Lake Quag. That is the only really permanent settlements in the wolf nomads, except for Erutuvar. So Erutuvar and Ugrabalan. So Ugrabalan is wolf nomads window to the world, so to speak. That's where they import goods and export goods. So people go there to sell stuff to the wolf nomads, and the wolf nomads sell stuff to the rest of the world. So it's one, and that type of city is very, very common in the world too. You have a settlement that is the window to Hong Kong for China for many, many years and stuff. So it might be one of the places where the wolf nomads tolerate and welcome strangers. They might not have strangers walking around in their lands, but in Ugrabalan, they're probably welcome.
So I'm sorry to be cheesy going back to a TV series, but it felt like in the Viking series, that's what Kattegat became.
Exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Gothenburg later on was the successor long after the Viking era and stuff. You had these cities that are the port cities and the window to the world, so to speak. So yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't even realize that one is a wolf nomad town.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it's mentioned and stated that way, that's the purpose. So it's a trade. And I also made it open, no walls, as part of the policy. It's not a military. It's supposed to be a trading outpost. The people go there to trade, not to invade, so to speak. So it's a way of making yourself so open and say, we don't store a lot of valuables. They flow in and out, but it's and also wolf nomads wanted to probably, their reputation is so fierce, so don't go there and mess.
Yeah, okay.
So to speak. So yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Oh, nice education.
The Pearlanders will mess with gnomes and dwarves though.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, they'll mess with them.
Yep.
Are there elves in the area at all?
Probably from the east, maybe, or something.
Here, right?
Yeah, because there
are. Of course, that one kingdom, it's like halfway.
Exactly. You have the Kershane. That is another invention from the living Greyhawk era.
Well, that's one I'm dropping anyway. Yeah. I was going through. I was like, okay, that's too much.
I kept it because it tied into my ancient story, but I made it an elven place, not a parent land place.
Is right there. Why add another elven vale?
I'm going to tell you why. Because they wanted elves.
Oh yeah, they needed every. They
didn't have any elves.
Can't use
exactly.
There was no crossover, so like, oh look, there's a valley here. We can make this an elven valley.
Yeah. Yep. That's right.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah,
that's all right. It doesn't hurt. It's out of the way, right?
Yeah.
You know. All right, Anna. Yeah, go ahead.
I would one of the most, what I think is the most strategic city in the whole of the Flannies.
I'm going right
and
here.
That is Thornwood.
I was already there, Anna.
Yeah,
I knew exactly where you're going.
Exactly. I was going. We need to mention it. I'm not going to go into to details of Thornwood, but it's interesting. And just like Exag had its dwarven counterpart, Thornwood has its Ket counterpart, Nehes, up on the other side of Nesser on the other side of the Bramblewood, so to speak. So these two, just like Hardby and Greyhawk, are a twin in economic speak, so to speak, in that sense that they rely on each other. It's like Hong Kong and Shenzhen in China. When Hong Kong was British and later just its own entity, then you needed one on the Chinese side. Now they're Hong Kong being replaced, but that's real world politics, so that's different. Right. But here you can say that Thornwood is being fought over many times through history, probably, and then after the Greyhawk Wars, from the ashes, it became balkanized, like Berlin after World War II. It's like, we control this part, you control that part, because even if one side won, they didn't want to throw out them. It makes perfect sense, because even if the Kedites won, they didn't want to throw out the other side, because that's bad for business. If you throw out the ones you want to trade with, you lose the business. So you want to control, but you also want the enemy in. And that is a lot of real world examples of that. You want to keep a window open even to your enemy, because it's good for business. So Thornwood might be one of these places you fight over, but you still want it somehow to be open for business. And that's an interesting environment for adventures. You can have a lot of skullduggery, espionage, whatever. It's an interesting place that reeks of adventure possibilities for that way.
Well, if I recall, the Bissell Living GREYHAWK people told us that it changed hands 3 times during the Living GREYHAWK era.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
so,
then,
so you,
yeah,
and what you fight over is not to kick out all your enemies. What you fight over is probably the right to tax all the business that goes on. That's probably what you're fighting over, so to speak. So you don't want to throw out the enemy; you want to tax him. So it's basically a fight over the taxation rights. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So definitely a crossroad.
Yeah, yeah, because it's the opening between the Baclunish West and the rest of GREYHAWK, so to speak. So, and then there is like a string of them. So the next one you have Folsford, you have Padstow, Falls Ridge in the east or maybe that's one of my inventions towards Mittrick. Yeah, so through that valley there's like a string of, and that can also make sense that every day or so there is a town that has inns and cater to the traffic, both river traffic and on traffic.
True,
on
all the way to Valuna.
Exactly, yeah. And that's Sam, that's an interesting trade-off, because if you turn Thornwood into your military base, then you lose the trade. But on the other hand, you might conquest. So there's like a win. Is monetary interest, or is conquest political interest, military interest taking over? And it's just like in the real world, there's always a struggle between those two. Sometimes they are like, oh, we want both, or sometimes it's one or the other. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
So that is
cool.
And there's several of that, but now it's your guys' turn, and I'll come back with a couple of more of these strategic cities. GREYHAWK is another one that we talked about last week and stuff. So that's another one that is a sure reason why it's there. And then there's there's at least like 4 or 5 others that I think are worthy to mention. Critwall is one of them.
Absolutely.
That has a very strategic location that controls the river traffic and stuff going between Wisestill and Neerdøv. Adamant Fort in the center of Neerdøv is another one that is a good location to have. Yeah.
You want to know about a ton of there are small communities all over the place, and that's around well written up, and it's because of mostly of the Slaver's reference in Hardby. So, and here we go. Here's Hardby, and then after this, we'll have all the other locations.
Sam, that's very true. But there's a line of forts along Bramble, because that road is probably, they want to control for raiding and everything. So that might be a fort every so often that you can see each other, so they can control and patrol during the day. So you will never be far away from a patrol, so to speak. So yeah.
So
that makes perfect sense.
Some great smaller communities outside of Hardby that we use.
Yeah.
In particular, one up here, and it's called High Pass. There's a Delaware Castle's nearby, and it has become a focal point with a lot of disturbances in the Hardby area. See, this village supports the adjacent Delaware Castle. Lady Estarian is the current owner, but it says here. There, where is it? All right, so here it is. Unbeknownst to most people, Lady Astarian is the leader of a small coven of female necromancers. The coven has a base in an abandoned mine in the nearby foothills. The village has one in the desert passage. She caters adventures to caravan leaders. So yes, we have a lot of goings-ons that we've developed there. It's only got a population of 280, so that's cool. And then if you want like a unique thing that's nearby, and that's Oars. It's a fishing village. So let me show you on the map here. There it is, right there. It's right outside of Hardby. But I was drawn to it by one thing that they make the most superior crossbows. And so it says here they've developed a variant crossbow for hunting larger fish at the bay. So it's an orange crossbow, does bonus damage, and it also has these special bolts that do extra damage because they stick in almost like barbed into you, and if you pull them out, they do damage on you. So it's cool. It's something different, and that's what I like. And it's only got 300 people population, and they're all up and down the Woolly Bay. All multiple other ones here. And there's a lot on the other side, which if we get to the Wild Coast, maybe I'll discuss a couple. But yeah. So on that side, outside of the Hardby, on the Hardby side, you have all these little locations. Now that Thunderstrike Villa is mine that you added in, so that was a new one. So, all right, where do you want to go next?
Mike, do you have anything?
It's a busy little area.
It is. It is. Absolutely.
So Anna was talking about a travel guide
a
little while ago. I happen to own a Doraka travel guide.
Oh, wow.
Ooh. Have you written it yourself?
I shall link in the chat right now.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Yay.
This is pre-Legends and Lore.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, that is awesome. Thank you.
Look at that, man. Thanks.
I remember this one now. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. It's travel.
So the GREYHAWK channel folks were running some adventure in Doraka at the time. I'm like, these people need to know about Doraka.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I just got on a whirlwind art and research project and came up with this.
Let me see if I can bring it up here. Whoops. Whoops.
I don't know if the scale on it's good enough to read.
Yeah, I'd be able to blow it up if I can get. Excuse me. We're gonna have a double sound for a second here, but
it should
be all right.
Archmage Null's tower and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Because I Use the Evil has a map of Doraka in it.
Yeah,
but it's very woefully basic, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's Fate of Istus, that basic map style that is so basic that it's kind of lacking every. Yeah. This one is so much more awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Where'd the map for the city come from?
I took the map from I Use the Evil.
Yeah.
And I tilted it.
Right.
And I drew it isometric.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You drew that whole thing?
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, it's so cool. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice job.
Sometimes I have creative output.
Very often you have fantastic, and I wish you had more because when you do, it's always awesome.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Rex pointing out the Road of Skulls. I forgot about that. Yeah, the little touches.
With the post with the skulls sitting on poles.
Skulls on it,
yeah.
I'm seeing if there's anything.
Because I have old books about medieval cities and whatnot, and a lot of them are drawn in that style.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I gotta try this. Thanks, man. Ideally, I would love to have a map like that for every city, right? But who has time for that?
I'm working on a few, right? But so I will in 100 years or so I will get to them all.
Cool. It's like you've got the Legion of Black Death location. That's cool. Yeah, that's not. That's
now the only way I could probably punch that up, I think, now is if I colorized it.
I think I think it looks good the way it is. I think
it looks great the way it is.
Yeah, I think it's good. Yeah, that's awesome, man. So this is like 2017, 2018. What year was this one?
Whatever
2017,
2017. Yeah.
I agree, Rex. Forgotten Realms had better city maps. Like it was almost like the GREYHAWK city maps were copying Forgotten Realm maps, but were failing.
Yeah, but that we have to credit Ed Greenwood for, because he set the style. He created set the tone and the style and the quality. So they had Ed's map.
Yeah.
And even if they have artists redoing them or remaking them, they still relied on Ed's initial creativity. We have very few of these because Gary Gygax didn't seem that interested in making city maps and stuff, and other GREYHAWK creators and writers have been writers, not so much. Meaning Ed is a multi-talented guy, more than other creators are more heavily into writing and don't do sketches and stuff. And Ed is a bit like the Da Vinci of he can do anything, so to speak. So yeah.
Malton's not too bad either.
No, exactly.
Well, yeah,
He's
absolutely.
fantastic
Yeah, look,
too.
you got
So,
it.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You gonna open it up? Or you gonna leave it in the shrink?
I'm gonna leave it because I have a game used one that's
there
starting
you
to fall
go.
apart.
Beautiful.
And so the longer I leave this in the shrink, the better.
Yeah, very cool. Very, very cool. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, Horn World has some wonderful maps. I bought a couple of books for Horn just because they are so detailed and they're wonderful, and they're also based in a lot of medieval reality, so to speak, from the real medieval world, which are a great way to start. And then I think you should, in a fantasy world, you can take various liberty and do creative license to go off the charts in various ways. But it's always good to look at that first, I think, cities that are made for horse and carts rather than cars and stuff.
Right, Jeff, he was more about the dungeon crawl, yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, GREYHAWK is so old that city adventuring and stuff, it came later on, but the GREYHAWK, meaning he was ousted from the company before he got a chance to put. So if Gary had been in TSR a few more years, we will probably had a City of box set that had a way cooler map. If they used his model of the city from the City of Hawks, I would have loved that way better. But that's another story. Yeah.
So Anna, which one do you want to do next?
Let's continue with before we continue with the 3D cities, there's one country or realm of GREYHAWK that has a surprising amount of cities that I think we've rarely talked about, and that's where I wanted to just nope. Nyrond is kind of has a lot of cities for because it's one of the most powerful realms, but often overlooked is Pale. Theocracy of the Pale has a surprising number of cities and stuff. So you have Wintershiven, and you had the old Wintershiven that was before the war and that was abandoned, and they moved it to the bigger river, which makes sense. And then you have other big cities like Stradset, you have Landrigard, Eltison, Rakervale, meaning the list goes on. There is like half a dozen cities in the Pale, and two reasons. One, a decent population, of course, but another reason might be that the country in general. I think there's two other reasons that there's so many cities in Pale. One is that it's kind of a harsh climate and a harsh environment. A lot of mountains, a lot of wilderness and stuff. People probably for various reasons, like if you live anywhere near the troll fence, you want to live beyond walls and stuff as a protection. That's probably one of the reasons. So even if they have a lot of lands to sow and harvest, a lot of people still probably want to live within, instead of spreading out in tiny villages, they probably a larger part of the population probably lives in the cities for defensive purposes due to wilderness and stuff. And the other is that if you have a very orderly regime, and I'm trying to be politically neutral here towards the Faultians, if you have a rigid regime that want to be controlled and keep track of people and stuff, it's very tempting to put them behind walls because that makes them, you can control them, so to speak. That raise walls is something that all sorts of, if you go in an authoritarian streak, you want to build walls everywhere, so to speak. You want to build barriers to keep people in. So my guess is that Pale has a little bit of control issues and also defensive issues, so to speak. And my guess is that we see more cities in Pale than most other countries simply for those two reasons. When the climate is better, like down in Nyrond, probably has less control issues and also a little bit less harsh wilderness and stuff that scares people outside the door. So you have small, tiny towns, small villages and thorps and stuff spread out all over the place.
Huh.
Yeah, that's my theory that why Pale has that significant amount of cities. They also seem to be fairly warlike in that sense that once you start if you offend them, they seem to go on the offensive fairly quickly, and they seem to be a prickly bunch who runs it, so to speak. Like a lot of religious people, if you criticize them, they go crazy quickly. So yeah.
But they're not expansionists.
They became that in the war because they took their part of 10. So that's what they did in the war. They and that's one of the reasons they moved Wintersheven to the was that they expanded north of the Yol River. So they are now taking a large chunk of what used to be 10 is then Pale after in the northwest, so to speak. They expanded up into 10 old 10 territory. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's and also in the Gord books, the Palites are also portrayed as fairly aggressive, warlike, so to speak. So a little bit crusader mentality, so to speak. So yeah.
Well, I have them with colon, people
Yeah.
relocating.
Yeah.
I don't have it with
Mm-hmm.
military expansion, but
Yeah,
that's
it's
understandable.
like Sam said that they're just surrounded by others who manage to contain them and forced to be. And I can see Niron is one of these that have are forced to maintain vigilance up there. Otherwise, the Palites will come. But I guess it's in nature of most religions to be slightly have a conversion rate, so to speak. It doesn't go by itself. You can always use various means to increase the number of souls that you save.
Wonder Shivan has the Fate of Estus map. There you go.
Yeah.
So it does have a map, but it's
Yeah.
okay.
And
Interesting.
then on the Niron side, you have Mid Meadow is the big metropolis up in the north, the big city up in the north, so to speak. That is the kind of the the focal point in northern Nyrond. And Nyrond has its fair share of cities and also metropolises or
Well, Niron's the
metropoli,
second
whatever.
largest behind the Great Kingdom, right?
Exactly. They also have a huge population and they span over a large
Yeah.
area. And also after the war, it's probably arguably even the biggest nation by land area and probably one of the biggest by population. And also has probably a large agricultural area and stuff too. So in the south and that makes sense, along Relmore Bay, you have a whole slew of metropolises.
Hmm.
So there
Yeah.
and that are trade and yeah, and one that I think should be a metropolis is Nessermouth. That is just a town in origin. I made it into in my city, but I'm thinking about upgrading it to a metropolis because it's such a strategic location that in a climate that is very friendly and it has a continuous supply of fresh water and stuff. So I'm in my campaign, I'm going to upgrade that to a metropolis.
Oh,
Simply
okay.
like the Venice of Greyhawk in that sense.
Hmm.
Not necessarily the biggest trade city, but in when it comes to it's in a river delta in a bit like Venice.
River
Very
Delta. Okay.
defensive, yeah, and very probably a very defensible location, full of resources like fish and probably good agricultural areas around and stuff. So it's probably a good spot, and it also has traffic that can come upstream from the river, but also a lot of traffic that can come from the ocean towards it. So it's probably a very good port to relocate to, or like have a relay station, so to speak. So
It could. I mean, there's
yeah,
things that could be like why it hasn't grown. It could be prone to
Exactly. They could be.
floods.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
exactly. But
Right.
floods in our day and age is very negative. But back in before you had fertilizer and all of that, floods were a huge thing. Think about the Nile is one of the most flood-prone rivers on the earth, and that meant that it was very and Mississippi and other rivers. That made agriculture so much the better.
Right,
Yeah.
but they didn't put a city right in the delta.
Well, no, they normally they don't do. They
Right.
build them up enough so they know
They
how
rub.
much it will flood, and then they build high, so to speak, and then they build them on little stilts if need be, and then they gather in these little spots while the flood comes,
Yeah.
and then they run out and start planting, and then harvest, and then the flood comes again, and it repeats, rinse and repeat, so to
Yeah.
speak. Yeah.
Well, that
But
is.
but there might be other reasons. They might have been enough orcs or people from raiders from the Bright Kingdom or Bright Desert to raid it and stuff. So yeah, there's definitely yeah. So there, and Nat Marsh might be so bad that no one goes up and down the Nesser and the Duntide. That might be another
Right.
thing, and yeah, and so on. So yeah.
Lots of possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
always can be worked out in the course of your gameplay if you're using it. I don't know
Yeah.
anyone who, maybe Michael Valmoko
Yeah.
uses it. It's very
And
possible.
another pair of cities next door is Blue and Scant.
Yeah, right.
That also makes a lot of sense to have one city on either side, both for cross trade back in the day when Pomage was part of Keoland of the Keoish Empire, who wanted to trade east, and to have Scant, and also to have them as trading north and south. So those two cities make one of these interesting pairs that probably started as a pair and then later got their political history screwed up, and now after the war was taken over by or during the war by the Scarlet Brotherhood, both of them. And that can also make sense that someone with imperial ambitions take these strategic ports, a bit like Britain took Singapore because that was in a strategic location and held on to it. So it's a similar kind of, or Djibouti in Africa is another one that Europeans have took care of and held on to. Hong Kong is another one. So it makes sense that Scarlet Brotherhood is trying to hold on to them. If they were successful or not, that's up to you in your campaign. You can say that no, they're just feeble and they were ousted quickly or they, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So, but
Nice.
it's these things that can make sense. And Blue might be interesting if Scarlet Brotherhood wants to support more instigation and throw at Celine and other powers further up. They are supporting the slavers and the humanoids of the Pomage by propping them up to cause mayhem, so to speak. So to give them. So that might be a political decision by the Scarlet Brotherhood to do that. So that might be why Blue thrives, because Scarlet Brotherhood is propping in money to support the opposition, so to speak, which means that you can then be a Nyrondese or a Greyhawk or someone else and go down there and raid and cause mayhem just because you want to make sure you want to cut down on that, make it more costly for the Scarlet Brotherhood or the 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 Turush Mak to run business with Scarlet Brotherhood. There's interesting. You could be a pirate in reverse, so to speak. Yep.
Letter of Mark.
Yep.
Which three of our heartbeat group, yeah, all three of them I think have letters of marque now to raid
Yeah.
off the
Mm-hmm.
pirates and
Yep.
the
Yep.
especially the slaver pirates.
Yep.
Just run all the way up and down through here and out and all the way down to Harryport.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yep.
so cool, nice. All
Ugh.
right, so
Hi, Curtis. Hi, Enoch.
yeah, good to
Hello.
see you.
Yeah. So Jay, do you have some other cool
Yeah. I mean, so
dive
I want
into
to note
here?
something about Celine, and that is
Yeah?
there's only two towns.
Or two
That
big places. Yeah.
That's it. I mean, all the rest is
Mm-hmm.
added. So
Yeah.
in Celine, you have Enstad, right? And you have Carwood, which might finally
Yeah. And
prove that they're.
one up in the north that is a border town, and that's Ostberg from the A series or from the T series from the Hamlet and
That's
the
in the.
Temple of Elemental
That's not in
Exactly, but
Celine.
that's the
Yeah. Yeah.
border town, so to
Yeah.
speak. Just like Cowerwood is on the border. So
Yeah.
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 Much smaller, but it's still worth mentioning that
Okay.
it's yeah,
But it's just
almost. Yeah.
it's just like wow. So
Hmm.
when I started, it was empty. I'm like, I gotta fill it with a whole bunch of
Yeah.
estates and all. And then
But
there's some Living Greyhawk ads in
yeah,
here. So
but it
it's some
might be
adventure
a little
ads.
bit also by yeah, I think it deserves or requires a lot more development, but it might also be a tendency that it's the opposite from Pale. they are a smaller population because elves aren't that numerous, but it might also be that the elves are powerful individuals more by themselves, so to speak, and also they are probably not going around controlling themselves, meaning there's no authority who wants to keep populations inside walls to keep control of them. The elves probably might live in tiny little communities spread out all over the place as a way. So if you want to raid, there's very few central places to raid. So if you go around, the elves will eventually gather in numbers enough to oust you, and so that might be a defensive strategy that is completely different from the Pale, because they rely more on magic. They might have way of detecting you, tracking you, and individually more powerful.
Human-centric to elven-centric too makes a whole bit of difference. In the way.
So that's a reason. If you don't want to populate Selene with a lot of towns and stuff, you can play with reasons like that, while the elves are different.
So I think I have enough in there for the time being, but it's just weird that,
Yeah.
And then we have that really nice Alan Frook Enstad map. It's a little different.
Yes.
Here.
Yep.
Let me just pop that up.
Yep.
Yeah. So there.
It's a cool map.
Yep. Yeah, and maybe not what everyone thinks of it, but yeah. So there you go. So really cool job on his part.
And Rexfell is, yes, a big settlement like cities and stuff can be overwhelming to design, definitely, and they can be overwhelming to adventure into. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Rexalis. I mean, I'm lazy, so when the Free City of GREYHAWK box set comes out, even if you are a purist for using the Gary Gygax version of the city, I would just use the locations in that box set. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So they kind of push to a lot of the storylines come right out of Free City of GREYHAWK box set are out of Gore novels. You can see it when what Carl Sargent's talking about in those. So, all right, where to next? What do we got?
We have big port cities that we often overlook. Hardby is one that we talked about and mentioned, but there's a couple of other port cities I think are worth mentioning that are huge port cities that are often overlooked. And the first one is Gradsul in Killland that I think should be mentioned. That is probably one of the biggest port cities in GREYHAWK, supporting half a continent, so to speak. It's a huge. Desmouth should be a big port city too, and probably about the same size as Hardby, or a little bit bigger. But the Gradsul is, I think, a really big port city with lots of imports from near and far, and stuff that goes, and also old, because the Kievish Empire is thousands of years old, so it has a long history that is kind of often overlooked. And then there's another one that is a big port city metropolis, but for a different reason than others. And now I'm talking about Willip in the Furundi, on the Furundian coast. That is a metropolis, also big, and that one is primarily, I don't think, a port city for trade primarily, but that is a big secondary role. But I think it's also where the that's where Furundian Navy hangs out. So it's a military domination as well as trade, so to speak. But it's both. But originally it was that part, meaning Divers was to dominate the southern side, and then Willip was in the middle of between Divers and Critwall. And I think one of the reasons to build it there was that it was between the two or the three, meaning you have Admanford and then you had Critwall and Divers, and then you built Willip as the port city between the other ones, so to speak. So that might have been the reason that they built it there.
Okay.
So that's another port city, and then the former Grey Kingdom has a whole slew of port cities from Pontilver all the way up along the coast. Real Astra being the old capital, that is the most important one. But the interesting thing with these port cities is that they seem to trade more with each other than they do with strangers across the sea, because the Origians never seem to have started up a lot of colonies and stuff in other countries across the Solnor or down in Mona Land or stuff. So they seem to have just gone up and down the coast primarily. So maybe they had ambition and then it fell apart. But on the other hand, they created an empire inland instead.
Right.
So that makes sense that they might, and there's not that many other trade partners to do, and so they they conquered inland and then they fell apart, so to speak. So yeah, so it kind of makes sense that these port cities didn't evolve much afterwards. So
Well, I mean, you have a ton of them along the near deep, right? All over the
well, you have
place.
two in the eastern part that we need to mention, Leukich and Radagast City. That are also two other big, and they are both talked about in the Gord books.
Right.
So yeah, especially I think Radagast City, they are mentioned, and there are some anecdotes, and I think he goes past. If I remember, he goes past Leukich as well in one of the books, and Radagast City and the town of Muddick up there. And they are both located probably where they are simply because there are the entry, just like Critwall and Divers. They are the gates in and out of Nirduv to out into the river systems. So they each serve their own river system going away from Nirduv, as well as the lake, so to speak. And then there's a couple of other cities like Nyrstrand and High Mardred is a couple of other cities along the Nordub. So just like Lake Quag, it's full of cities, big cities and settlements around the lake, which makes perfect sense.
And a lot of small communities too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All over.
Yeah, like Mystic Bay and Salt Harbor. Yeah.
Yeah, they're in
and we have to mention the city that never got the attention it deserved. That was rumored to have another box set in the making, and that's Stoink. That Gary talked about, wrote about, that they played in his campaign, that they had a lot of good adventures and stuff, but never got a detailed box set. But
hey, darling, thanks.
Hello.
Oh wow, 71. Nice.
Yeah. But there's a lot of cool stuff in the Gord books about Stoink. So there is a lot of adventuring possibilities and stuff. And if you want a city with a lot of adventuring possibilities and tough city, then Stoink is a good place, I think.
We're talking cities and towns and villages of GREYHAWK and going over a whole bunch. I got Mike and Anna here. Welcome. Thank you so very much. You got a classic D&D reprint giveaway, exclamation point drawing. Enjoy the discussion. We're freewheeling it tonight. One of these where we go over and we all talk about places we know about, or have some tricks to it or something. So welcome. Good to see everyone. Thank you so very much, darling, for that. Got a lot going on coming up with Gary Connell. We'll talk a little bit about that at the end. Oh, so for all of you, I got to share this. Josh isn't on yet. I was saving it. Tell me what this is.
Oh, look at that.
Anyone? Why do I have this?
You're going to give it away to someone?
This is my...
Oh,
it's a scooter flag.
Yeah. Gotcha.
That's right, darling. Now, this one doesn't have grommets, so they're like, oh, just keep that one. We're sending you one that has grommets. I thought it was one
of these small triangular ones.
It's a scooter flag. I got my flag.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yep. Yeah. So.
That's awesome.
The scooter flag is here. Yep, I'll play it up. I will play it up. Awesome. All right, so, Mike, where do you got?
Well, in chat, Rex mentioned something about how many cities are on the Darlene map, and that actually brought me back to some thinking when Anna was talking about Nissermouth. Her whole explanation, her whole situation there changes when you only have material before the publication of Marklands, because Nessermouth is not on that map.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not on From the Ashes either, because I just checked.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
does not exist.
Yeah.
So without Nessermouth there, that totally changes all of the assumptions, that she might put forward. And then also along that line of how many cities are on the map, I know why they were added, but From the Ashes actually added several cities.
Yeah.
Reldeven, Kalstrand, Siltarin, Devarnish.
Was not Rel Devon wasn't on this the
Rel
Darlene
Devon
map?
was one of them.
Yeah. Oh, so it was not on the original Darlene map?
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
So assume they were added, to pad out maybe some of the population and whatnot. But again, these are cities that would not existed prior to that From the Ashes box set and would change your geopolitical thinking on how you want to run in that area. But Nisramath don't even make it till Merklands.
Right.
So, Anna's talking about, this should be a metropolis or whatever. Well, if it's a metropolis, it would have been on the first map, is what a purist would say. It would have been on the Darlene map originally if it was a metropolis.
Now I need to look at the Darlene map here because
I'm
curious about the other.
Huge, though, and it should have been.
but those are huge too, right?
Yeah. So, but it's a good point. It's a real good point.
Just, huge cities springing out of nowhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that's we have in Nurdiv we have the Alhaster is one of these. That was a GREYHAWK creation. There is no city there, and then they created Alhaster. So that's the
where. Well, yeah. I mean,
hey.
Yeah, Alhaster. They created that with the land of the Red Hand and all, and
So they fill in the gaps, but that's part of GREYHAWK nature is that they left a lot of bit untalked about, so to speak. Right. But it doesn't mean that there couldn't have been anything there. But so it's.
Yeah, I'm not a Zeech fan at all.
Well, and then that maybe brings it around to another city that was on my list that I no longer have, and that was Sasserine. Sasserine
I love it.
Did not exist till Paizo era.
Well, until
it's a
James
significant
Jacobs'
city,
campaign,
right. So it's a significant city that would not have been on, your 1E maps, your 2E maps, etc.
Oh yeah, that was a GREYHAWK era creation too. Yep.
It is, but we have a ton of pictures of Sasserine, believe it or not.
We do. Yes.
A lot of them, and that's from Dungeon Meister, who had a ton of adventures there. So if I go to Deviant Art here, let's see if I can get to it. It goes right to Dungeon Meister because I use his stuff so much. Gallery.
That's true. There's no Karlstrand and no Rel Devon on the Darlene map. That's from the 83 box set. Yep.
Yeah.
That's wrong.
Whenever I look at Darlene maps nowadays, Anna, my brain fills those in.
Oh yeah, almost. Exactly. Same
I know
thing.
They're there, but it's not on the map.
Yeah.
There's a picture of the dock at Sasserine.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures of Sasserine here.
Nerisband is one of those cities that was added on From the Ashes. I'm quite familiar with it. I've campaigned in it, Birch's campaign, but Nerisband is only on the From the Ashes.
Olman Isles. Yeah.
Oh,
Go
yeah.
east.
Isles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good point, Gary. Yeah, same here. I never took it as complete. I don't take any of the published materials complete. It fills in white spots more and more over time. So
I took it as complete, but when From the Ashes and all the Sergeant Airs started to come out and add so much to it, that's when I finally realized that the world can be deeper.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably why Sergeant Air is my favorite.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I love the From the Ashes and Ivid the Undying and I Use the Evil and stuff. Those books because they showed me too what possible to do with it.
It also showed especially with Sasserine with James Jacobs, if he did it, Dennis did it. Dennis has Melkot and Melkasha, right?
Yeah. Right. But Gary, you're right. It should
Gary's
be
right.
Handle with care, so to speak, because if you add a lot of people in an area that shouldn't have
them. We could have had a 2024 Dungeon Master Guide put out a GREYHAWK map and plop a brand new city full of who knows what, right on the other side of the lake from.
But they did. They went for a very conservative, going back to the roots kind of.
They didn't do it.
No, and I think that was a good thing that they didn't do it, but they did move stuff. Like they moved Robler's Keep and the ruins of Castle GREYHAWK.
Yeah, but that was more like
I know,
sometimes they move things so the label can fit in and stuff like that. Yeah. So but he also moved Primp, which I think it's good. He moved Primp to a better location because it looked better on the coastline, and I love that. So Mike Schley, thank you for moving Primp to a location that is better. So that was thank you.
Rex Wallace, if there's any maps that get panned more than anything at all, it's the Fate of Estus maps. I know most of them are pretty bad, but they're there.
They're just as good as the ones from Marklands and Eyes the Evil. And Slavers and just about any other Greyhawk.
That's true.
It's pretty bad.
That's true. They're all blocked. Narwhal's the same way.
They're all pretty bad.
Safeton, they're all the same.
Our City of Greyhawk box set for the city was decent. Thank God Malden improved on it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, back then you almost had to do all the fine tuning yourself.
So speaking of that, let's go to this map, and I will give someone a shout out we haven't talked to in a while. Here you go. Here's this is what the cities in Greyhawk should look like, and this is right, Alyssa Faden's Wamptham.
Yes, that's a great one. Yeah. Oh yeah, those are fantastic. Yep.
Yep.
That was some of the best fantasy city maps of any kind I've seen.
Yeah. So, and I know it was through her Patreon you could get it. I don't know if you can anymore, but yeah. So, but it's done in detail, and great map. So, I think she did Schwartz and Bruin too, and I have it somewhere, but I haven't been able to locate it.
And she did
Schwartz and Bruin.
No, she did Krakenheim.
Oh, Krakenheim, that's it, Krakenheim. Yep. No wonder I couldn't find. I was searching for the wrong thing. Yeah. So, all right. And then there's also cities get lost and locations get lost when you look at the map on the grand scale, and then you notice that there's only so many that are on the Darlene map, or on the latest Schley map. If you got the 2024, 2025, whatever they call it, the dungeon. Is it Dungeon Master's Guide? That's in the Player's Handbook.
Dungeon Master's Guide.
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, you got to have the research, and a lot of the Living Greyhawk stuff is tough to find. So, what do you do? I mean, it's a tough question,
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've never been one that worried about because I don't use Rexalis and everything. I'm not wandering all over the place. I'm not city hopping in my adventures. When we're in a city, we're in the city or its outskirts. So I'm not really city hopping that much. If I needed city maps when I was doing Vespi, I'd say I would need Flameflower, right? And I would need Qualston, right?
But the thing is, Jay, you just put the buildings on your table and you have the city
Well, that's
map.
True. That's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do.
You don't need a city map. You just put the buildings up and then you have the map. You take a picture and off you go.
So, and if we look at this is kind of funny here. If you go, and this is on Cannon Fire, right? All the cities. And you go to Altamira, it's my pictures of my my map, my table maps.
Yep.
So there you go. One's the Joust, one's the downtown. So yeah, but hey, all right. But yeah, I love the Vespi in an area like I said, Flameflower would be a perfect place to have a map of, but we don't. So, but you just don't.
Then we have someone has to invent one. Yeah, or create one. Yeah.
Speaking of Altamira, on Anna's map, who else do we know has created towns and villages that are on Anna's map?
Right here, right? All these are done up, right? Ritter's March, Oakenburg, and Brenflis. I have maps for all of them.
Nice.
So
I have
here. So Vincent Matelier, right? Right. He's got the Ritter's March. He's got Oakenburg. What was the other one again? Brenflis. Now you mean they were already there though? They came in from Pictures of Ulick, right? Those towns. But he did a map.
Which one is that?
No, I'm saying in all I have created
about
4 or 5 towns.
Oh, let's go over.
Yep.
Now, what do I know about them? And are there maps of these cities? Not really.
Okay. But they're so chaotic they might not even be mappable.
So is Ulakand is
No, I did not create that.
Samust?
I did create that.
Summist. Cool. That's awesome.
That's the thing, Mike, and you have way more places on the published map than I do on the published general map, because I try to avoid putting my own stuff in there, because I have my own campaign map with tons of stuff added. But
how about down here, Kester, Urod?
Kester is from the Gord
That's on the map.
Yeah.
Kurikand.
No,
that's on the map.
Yeah, Kurikand, Okand, and
Kester is on the, yeah.
Cool, man. Did not know that. How about
they all have, like, they're in my Orth Journal article on all. Yeah. There's small write-ups on them.
Yeah, you created that Ulacan was up on a mesa. And
I did do that. Yes, yes.
Which is awesome. So I tried to depict it.
Yeah.
Talk about a city out in the middle of nowhere, right? So I was like, there's got to be something more to this. But as for those other towns, it was in either Sargent or Gygax's writings on all that there were ruins or cities that were taken over by the Yuli. And so I was like, oh, I'll just create a few little podunk towns in there.
That works. That works. Plus you got Albie Dalsum's tower up here.
And there's a tower.
There's a ruined tower.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So
great. Wow. And so the Earth Journal articles are where. So if anyone ever wants to adventure in this
18
area,
18 or 19, I think.
Yeah, that's where you want to go. It's just on the Earth Journal on all. Is it that early? 18 or 19?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Everyone, you gotta excuse me. I cold turkey 2 days ago, all caffeine. I'm feeling it. So yeah, it's rough. No morning caffeine, no after dinner caffeine. But I got it. So.
Yep.
So, but we'll see at GaryCon. I may need it at GaryCon just to get up at 6 o'clock every morning, get ready.
Yep.
Very cool. So Gary said,
sorry.
Real quick, Gary said something about he thinks that the towns up in north here should have like cities of 100,000. Ekbir and Zeef.
Yeah, they don't seem to have a big network of towns like Living Grog did to all the other nations. So what that leaves us with is Zeef and Tusmet and them being these sprawling cosmopolitan places.
Right.
So they should be bigger.
Yeah. Besides a few of our people in the campaign setting, in particular, my brain shut off.
Living Greg Journal 5 added on to the west off map. Oh, coffee.
Who's the Zeef master who does the Zeef adventures during the Virtual Ground Con? My brain's off. My brain's off tonight.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh! Everyone remember?
Yeah, it's like right at the tip of my tongue.
Now I'm not sure.
What was Fred's reasoning for making them? They're dominated by city-states. Okay, yeah. It should be.
I don't know if Fred had any reason.
Yep.
Now you're gonna have me going crazy here. Tabletop. So give me a second.
Who runs the virtual GREYHAWK Con adventure set in Zeef?
Yeah, I'll
Indicarus. Thank you.
Okay.
Who is it?
Indicarus.
Yeah, Indicarus. That's it. Yeah. My God, I can't believe my brain shut off. My brain completely shut off on that one. So, yep, Indicarus. Thank you. Thanks, Jim. What was Fred's reasoning? Yeah, well, they're city-states, so that's that. Jeff Grubb's city system for Waterdeep uses lots of long tables of being types and random. Yeah, and Waterdeep's the biggest one of them all. I mean, that thing is what? That map's like 16 feet long or something crazy. Whatever it is, it's ridiculous. But it's pretty awesome. What are you wearing me for there, Patrick? Because I'm not having coffee? What? The big, I'm just like, it's hitting me, man. It's hitting me. But, all right. So, coming into the central Keel land, do we have any locations like so this was back in the day a big location for us when we had our pre-order, if you look, war was genre.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's the capital of the county. If you look, but it's in a weird place, right? Well, not in a weird place, but it doesn't protect its whole area.
No, but it makes sense that it was probably beginning as a trade city along the river. So in that sense, it's.
But what I found weird about this was, if you read Tommy John Kelly's Hateful Wars stories, one of the things that happens is that they push out a bunch of orcs early on, and they flee southwest, and they raid, and they basically severely damage Genra, which I found was interesting because I'm thinking it's a walled city. There had to be a lot of them to assault a walled city like that.
Well, you might do damage even if you don't take it, so to speak.
Right,
you might pester the countryside and ruin things and stuff anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, Rexhaus, and it's busy enough now that you can fit in stuff, and there's still a lot of open gaps, right?
And the Ulex there are underdeveloped, so to speak. The
I'm
county
working on
of Ulek
especially
has
we're getting there. I'm working our way out. We have Happy Springs.
Yeah.
We're getting there. At least some of the western Duchy of Uleck has more now. But not as much. And then there's all these small locations off Tring Lee were added. I don't know when.
Some of them are from Living Greyhawk, and one of them is at least I think it's Orchard Brook or something from Castle Entertainment from Carlos.
Oh yeah, that's County Orchard Brook.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one it is, but
that's probably the one with the 7 gnomes.
Yeah, there's one adventure he added in a location.
Yeah, it's a Magnificent 7 one that he has with the names on. So, but I always like Tring Lee because that's where we had our festivals early on, and that's particularly where Lord Peakshaven is, and Tring Lee. So there you go. But a cool location, and then some major ones. Not a lot of cities within even the small wooded areas, right? Which makes sense. Like you got the Axewood, nothing inside. You got the Silverwood, and it looks like there's one little or two little elven areas here. This is weird. I don't know what this is. This is a little different here. March of Tarn.
Yeah, it's an elven. It belongs to the elven realm or near Silverwood. That was left. So it's a little bit weird because it was once part of the Kaiwish Empire, the whole place, and then it was so it's kind of it requires a little bit of detangling these areas depending on how you see things. So it got some attention and should probably so I'm trying to detangle it for my campaign, but it was a place with cool places, and no one really thought much about the overall perspective until later times when Gary did a wonderful job trying to get to it in the Living Greyhawk journal and stuff later on. But in the early on, we don't have a Carl Sargent take on Keoland the same way he did with the Marklands and stuff. So we have it's a further gap between the old original stuff and then Living Greyhawk and messed up things too and stuff. So
there's an added town for me, Mike. I'm not sure if it's on that master map, but Rushford. There you
go. I don't think Rushford didn't make it in
that's
there.
Mine. That's mine.
Yeah.
What's up? What's up with this? Like these are all ruins right here. What's going on here?
There's some Living Greyhawk stuff that made it in there. So
that's big.
Yeah, and it was But one of the weird things to me is that Neoldra sits in the middle of one of the oldest, most stable realms in the whole Flannies, and it barely has anything around it, which to me is surprising.
It should be sprawl, is what you're saying.
Exactly. There should be towns and cities way more close to it, but no one seemed to develop that part. So that to me is weird. And the other thing is that the eastern bank of the old Dra, I don't think Keoland will ever let that go, so to speak. So I want that to belong to Keoland so to speak.
Which is that? I'm sorry. I don't know.
The eastern bank from Neoldra on the other side of the river.
Yeah.
I have it that Keolan never let that go. I don't think they will ever let that go, so to speak. So that's still Keoish territory for quite some bit there. So I'm going to remake that a bit. So it gives Neoldra more the status of a major metropolis in a major that used to be an empire and today is still a powerful kingdom. And I don't think they will let the enemies across the shore, so to speak. And so that was one of the. I even let it be fortified just to make a statement. We are so secure, we don't need that part. Yeah, so that's just my take on it. That I want to elevate its status more towards Rossi's and Greyhawk City and Divers and other big
Okay.
big places with more infrastructure around it, so to speak. Yeah.
Okay.
Elevated a bit. Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. So that, but it's an interesting city that if you want to have diplomacy, pomp and circumstance, and that type of adventure, high politics and fancy dinners and diplomacy and backstabbing at night and stuff like that, political intrigue. Neoldra might be an interesting place. Karlstrand is another place. I think those should be high on your list for that type of adventuring, high society, yeah, balls and big festivities and a lot of dogma and rituals and stuff like that, but still a lot of conflict, but it's very under the surface, so to speak. It's a lot of varnish on top of the conflict. That I can sense that Neoldra and Karlstrand are two cities that could be full of that, so to speak. Yeah, that could be fun. If you have that type of adventure, then I think those two cities are full of politics as much as commerce, probably more politics than commerce. Karlstrand is also an up and coming city politically, but Neoldra is a old city that used to be important, but it's still important, but it's not an upcoming city. It's a city that have basically declined in empire. Divers is another one that has lost its empire, like Vienna in Europe, for instance. That is a big city that once were a seat of capital of an empire, and now it's just the capital of a tiny city that was a province of its original place. So Divers is a bit of that standard, but Karlstrand is the capital of an up and coming empire that is still building and conquering and trying to establish itself on the world stage politically, so to speak. And that could be meaning it could be probably meaning Neoldra is full of old buildings that are ancient, impressive in its day, a lot of stuff that could be like old Rome or something like that, or old Vienna. But Karlstrand could be more like the fantasy version of something that is building. They're building their capital. There are new fancy buildings being made, new temples, new things to impress. And big merchants want to be where the new deals are being made, so they made new stuff like Venice in the Mediterranean or medieval era, so to speak, where buildings were raised, industry coming in, artisans and stuff are coming there to and political consultants, ambassadors and high representatives from everywhere want to build mansions that are more kind of they shine more than the other ones, so they want to outshine. That's a place where new money wants to show off its wealth and influence and stuff. So you can imagine ambassadors from other countries build their residencies in Karlstrand in order to impress Savener, and Savener is of course making sure that whoever is in his favor get even bigger palaces and stuff like that. So I can sense that might be this.
If Gary's on, I want to ask, and even Sam, I want to ask a. This could sound stupid. I'm going to say this half jokingly, right? So, Verberbach, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The main city. I guarantee you, all of you have done this. the main city you need to go to when someone in your Hamlet or Nulb or Temple Elemental Evil died, and you need to get someone raised, and you had to send them back to Verberblock,
Oh yeah,
right? We all did
in the
that.
beginning. Yeah, we all did that. Yeah.
Right. So we always thought the Verberblock was cool because it was a free city for the most part, right? It really didn't pay homage to like anyone. It wasn't part of Furiandi, or it wasn't like GREYHAWK didn't claim it or anything crazy like that, right? So here's my question, Gary. Did I apologize if I offend anyone? Did the Living GREYHAWK era make Verberblock uncool?
I don't think they did.
Okay.
I think they stayed away from Verberblock or Verberblock to the large degree because I think it was one of these areas that was so classic they didn't touch it much.
All right,
and also, yeah, and it was also not its own region, if I remember correctly. It was part of. Now, I'm not sure about that part.
I think it was its own.
Oh,
yeah.
it was.
It was.
Okay.
Illinois.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
okay.
It was,
yeah.
And I asked that because I look at this map here for it, and there's
but
7 maps.
You didn't destroy it, Mike. Were you part of Living? No, you were not. Okay.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, look, they got, and these are all Living GREYHAWK maps. So, yeah. I'm just curious. Just curious. I mean,
sorry.
I think they did.
Yep.
Too much. There you go. So, thank you. Gary agrees with me. Thank you. The wind tunnel transportation system was the dumbest. Well, yeah, but I just think there's too many. I think it's too crowded here. It's just too much going on.
It got a little bit of there's a bunch of stuff. I was trying to squeeze in as much as possible, but
I know
it's hard.
we call
but it is and I think I even took away. There were some things I didn't even put in there, but Verberblock makes sense to have a city there. I think because
absolutely. I'm just saying it was cool back in the day.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it makes perfect sense to and it also makes sense both to have the city there because you have the river traffic, you have the traffic from Furiundi down to Selene, and you have it's a crossroads in that sense. But it also makes sense that it's a city or a realm that tries to play neutral to some degree, because both the elves and Furiundi probably want to have a buffer states, so the elves can have someone they have influence over but they're not controlling, and it's not powerful enough to threaten anybody, but it's also not so weak that it will succumb to whatever. So Verberblock seems to be one of these places where it has cordial and decent relations with all its neighbors, except for but no direct neighbors. But they have Nulb and the Temple of Elemental Evil. It's sin, inherited sin, so to speak, or something. So that is lingering. It's no one is perfect, kind of thing. But otherwise, I think Verberblock is one of these, like Switzerland or someone. It's like we try to play nice with everybody around, and they try to just don't offend anybody, so to speak, because they probably thrive on traffic from going in every direction. So probably open-minded in that sense that they thrive on trade and going in every direction. So I think that Verberblock, for being a kind of a countryside city, is probably open for business and various. It's an open-minded place in that sense.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So Gary brings up a good point. I have never used any of these forests right here. Dapplewood, northern, southern Dapplewood, Ironwood, or this Asnath Copse. I've never used any of them.
Yeah,
and it's not that far off from my venturing area. Mike, how about you? Any of those? I mean, they're recent ads, aren't they?
No.
They were added over time. I think some of them are mentioned in the 83 box set, I think, and some of them were named afterwards in the Marklands and stuff too. But
yeah, that probably makes sense. Okay, cool.
But I have it that a lot of these these were originally elven lands, so both Verberblock and Veluna has an openness and an affinity to elves. There are still elves living here, and so has historic roots, and that's why I think a lot of these forests still there, and they probably see it as a resources too, to keep for the future. So they tend to they're good hunting grounds, and timber is a resource. Don't cut down all of it. it probably, to me, it seems like that's good governance, so to speak. To
well, the
keep
way
some of your
Gary
resources.
just brings up a point, the way it looks, this could be the Vestvi, and then Early could have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have it that originally the forest probably went up and down, and then they cut and inhabited and made agricultural areas of most of it, but some of it was kept. Yeah.
Very cool. Good point.
Riksfällis, that's a good sign. We have a few. The obvious one is like Enstead and High Folk and stuff that are kind of elven.
Enstead, and then you got and actually,
we have Havenhill.
Yeah. Well, Havenhill's a mix of human and dwarf, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, but it's run by a dwarf, and is it?
Yeah.
Isn't it a dwarven kingdom?
Well, so that's not the GREYHAWK is the capital.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I moved it to Havenhill in my campaign, but that's a different part. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I have that the dwarves of the principality are. I know there's a fair amount of humans, but are very seaworthy. Because the Principality Ulick Navy is second only in this area to Keelands.
Yeah.
So but yeah, there's Havenhill there, and so and it's kind of an empty when you look at it. There should be a lot more here, but yeah. So good point.
Gary asks, "What city have you most wanted to run a campaign in but haven't?" It's Iron Gate every time.
For you, Iron Gate, definitely, Mike.
For some reason, I just have not, bit the bullet and done an Iron Gate game.
Okay. Huh. Good one. It seems to be one of the ones that's most talked about as, wow, it's really a neat place, but no one runs anything there.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, there's two cities I want to plug. One, because a friend of us, made an awesome source book about it, and the other one is in the neighborhood, so to speak. So the city Rock Roost is one of the ones that we have awesome that will.
Yep.
Helle Dvorak, he made a awesome that he called it what was it, Raven's Rook.
Yep.
And you can find that on Wicked Studios.
He may have finally gotten it on drive-through. I'm not sure.
Oh,
maybe
okay.
Not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
It might be, but yeah. Otherwise, go Wicked Studios and look at it. Yeah, and then the other one there is, of course, Stowing that we talked about. Those are cities I want to go and adventure in. Yeah.
Huh.
And another one I would like to go to is Rift Crag is another one that I would like to. And when it comes to old places that I want to visit, is Veralos is one that I want to go and adventure into. Yep. Eventually. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You got to ask me these questions, Gary, and I'm not ready for this answer.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, this is tough because I have a lot of. I know everyone complains, oh, you don't use the right side of the map, but I have a large area that we venture in. I mean, we're going to be at GREYHAWK tomorrow night in the Cairn Hills for a long time. For a lot, there are many good choices. Geez, what if I was outside the box? I would change it up. If I was outside, I wouldn't go to the eastern side of the map. I may do Sasserine actually. I would maybe go down there and do a Sasserine campaign. I would give it a shot, but it's not happening. But that's if yeah, I think Sasserine would be interesting. Yeah, just if I wanted to do something completely different, I think that would be it. Yeah, what is the
Molag is another one. I've been to Molag and I developed it somewhat back in the day, and we had adventuring in Molag, so that's a place I want to go back to.
We can't answer that question, Rick Phelps, because no one here has controls or has access to that wiki, so we cannot discuss that. Don't have the answer to that question on the GREYHAWK wiki. So, did you say Molag? And
yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're talking about, yeah. I mean, Horn Society.
Yeah, it's a cool place that I.
It's a cool, yeah. It's pretty deadly place, right? Infernal
It's a
place.
high level adventures behind enemy lines kind of adventure. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I love that area, and me, I'm a Free Weavers person, so I
Yeah.
just jump across back and forth from these wonderful locations. So, as we're winding down here, any place that's like, oh wow, this is unique about it, or a place that you can think of that you still want to discuss, Mike? We've been all over. So no,
I'm pretty good.
we just scratch the surface, everyone.
But I will say, for home campaign purposes, I have developed a lot of sea princes, towns. Maybe not developed, but I've created a lot of them. And the same with the ice barbarians. Believe it or not, I used to do a lot up there and have created various towns and villages.
That's the furthest north one too, isn't it?
Right.
Oh man. Yeah. Kuski, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Beautiful. Also, I'd love to throw my hat into a Radic game. I don't know. That'd be cool too. Port Toli, yeah. That's Real Astra. Where's Port Toli? Is that in the Sea Barrens?
Yep, I think so. No, Port Toli. Hang on a second.
No, it's
Port
down here.
Toli is down in the
The Lordship of the Isles, right? Where's Port Toli, man?
South of Monmouth.
Exactly, it's in the Sea Princess. Yeah.
Oh, it's in the Sea. Oh God.
Yeah.
What town am I thinking of? That's in there. Oh yeah, Port Toli there. Pirate campaign. Oh, Patrick, thanks, man. Holy jeez. Thank you very much. That's really kind. I haven't had a hype train tonight. Have not had one. That's cool. All right, so yeah, that'd be. I always like the Sea Princes. That's why I was infuriated by the other crap that they did with the Scarlet Brotherhood. But I mean, this area. Talking about an area that's overdeveloped now. I mean, there's a lot here in the area of Salt Marsh. A lot of towns.
It's a bit like the movie industry. You have one success, and then you keep adding to it.
Yeah, they keep on adding and adding to it, and it runs all the way up. A lot. I mean, a lot of these I've never used.
No, me neither. But it makes sense that they are there because you have it's a good climate, and it's easier to go along the coast because then you can be supplied, then go through the forest, so to speak. So it makes sense.
So true. And plus, the Dreadwood is a very nasty place. You do not want
exactly.
To be
so the coast is a good place because even if you get attacked from the forest, you can still get resupply and shored up from the seaside, so to speak. So it makes sense to have the road and connections along the coast.
Now, Michael, no, we didn't mention any of the Niron places. I thought Anna was going there, but she didn't. We didn't mention a single one.
Yeah, we can mention a few that I think are we have three big cities that live on the coast: Methat, Aldred, and Ragby, which are cool. And then it's probably the place where the most big cities. Then you have Relmord, of course, Womtham.
Yeah, we did Womtham. Yeah, we did because of
Womtham, and then we mentioned Mid-Meadow up there. That is also detailed a little bit in the Gord books too. He passes through Mid-Meadow, so yeah, and it has Trigol or Kurtulem is on the Niron side. Trigol is on the Ernst side, and then you have Hammensend in the west. Woodwidge and the B2 Arnford, meaning the list goes on. There's a bunch of cities and metropolises in Niron. So yeah,
get Gary a map for that. That's awesome. That's great to hear. Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
Niron's
the same thing and Shendel is one of these big in Furundi, the capital of Furundi, and Furundi has and one that stands out is Freeborough, a free city within Furundi. that is interesting. I have it as one that was an old Flan hill fort that didn't fight the Origians. They surrendered and pledged allegiance, and therefore they are still a free city to this day.
Where, in
because they
Keyland?
No, in Furundi,
Oh, in
Freeborough.
Furundi.
That
Oh,
that I
Freeborough.
have it. That was the story. So when the Origians came, they didn't try to fight them. They welcomed them, and they were granted eternal by pledging friendship. They were given rights to stay independent. And I have it. That's why, because there's not much information about.
Where is it
Freeborough.
again? In the middle?
It's in the
I
middle
see
of
it, I see
you
it.
you go, yeah. So it's a free city in the middle of, and it makes sense because it's both along the Atch River, that is one of the arteries through the realm, so to speak, and it makes sense because it's between Willop and Shendel too. So it has multiple connections,
So
left
close.
and right, so, or west and east and south and so on. So
is that in the That's in Marklands, right?
yeah, it's in Marklands. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's on the. Hang on a second here. Freeborough. No, yeah, it's from the Marklands.
Yeah.
I think it's not. Yeah, and it's mentioned. It doesn't have. It's never been developed, as far as I know.
Just has a little background on it.
Yeah. So I gave it. I said it was one of the, like, Critwall was an original hill fort, and so was Freeborough. So they have different stories from then on, so to speak. Freeborough became an independent city, and Critwall became an Iridian bastion up in the north, so to speak.
So I know we bounced a lot all over the place tonight, but
yeah,
that's the whole point of this, and we scratched a little bit of a little bit. I mean, there's so many. You could do highlights on areas. You know, a lot of us are starting to get Gary Con on the brain at this point too.
Oh yeah,
a lot of that's coming. A lot of it's coming. So, thank you for getting us over to level 3, level 2's level 3 hype. So, any questions from the audience or comments?
Yeah.
Lots going on this week. Last full week of streaming content for a bit. I mean, I'll have 3 next week, but then Gary Con will be coming. So, 2 cons in a work conference this month. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, history professor. Much. Are you coming to Gary Con?
Yeah,
that will be awesome.
He's playing in my game.
That's awesome.
He's playing one of my games.
That's so great. Yep.
He's definitely playing. He's playing in the Eric Mona game, which is cool. Number 9.
Oh,
cool. Beautiful. Oh, wow. Usually Adepticon's the same weekend. I guess it's not this time. Okay. So, let's see what everyone has going on. Why don't we? No other questions. So, Mike, what's up with you, man? What's rolling?
Oh, not a whole lot.
No.
I got a new comic up.
Oh, cool. Let's see it. Cult. Oh boy. That's funny. Wait a minute. It just brings doom on us. That's good, man. Nice. Excellent. Keep it going, man. Oh, thanks, Fuzz. Thanks, Scalagrimer. All right, so yeah, we're over. So so the winner will get their choice of 2 tonight. We'll do that. So if you want Marklands and Vecna Reborn, you got it. All right, instead of just your choice of 1. So also we have brand new Gazetteers, Treasures of GREYHAWK, and a lot of other things. But yeah, you get your choice of 2 tonight. Sound good? As we get over that, I really appreciate all the support, everyone. So
cool.
And your games are normally on I have them, Kurt, but I get them from Patrick sends a lot. Some other people send. We get some benefactors. It's really kind. It's a community thing. It's awesome. Excuse me. Anna, while I'm having a coughing fit, why don't you go there?
Okay.
Talk your shout
Yeah.
outs.
So I have first I have just published, and I actually had to update it because I screwed up a little bit. So here comes. It's part of the 1 to 2 million digital GIS series of maps. Flanny's Core. It's I basically try to figure out what is the biggest map I can push out of QGIS at the scale of 1 to 2 million. So I simply took the biggest area I could possibly export at that scale. And the definition is 30,000 pixels across. That's the biggest you can export out from QGIS and get the
wow.
Otherwise, it gets screwed up. So I simply took 30,000 by 30,000 pixels and just tried to get as much as possible in the center. So it's the core of Flannies. The Backlunish West is not there. Monaland and stuff. So it covers most of the area, so to speak. But I posted it first, but I realized that the white grid that is 100 by 100 miles was miscalculated. I used the wrong projection for that one, so I updated it, put the right projection in there, and now it's there. And there is one version with heraldry and another version without heraldry. So that's the latest is there. Otherwise, I'm working hard on getting all the stuff ready for GaryCon. So I've been working on some new kind of Earth future maps project that will be presented. That will be yeah, of course. Now I need to do the write up for my game. I've only had ideas. Now it's time to go down there and nail it down. I've updated my rules a little bit too. So everyone who signed up for my game, there will be this weekend. You will have a first package of all the stuff. There will be some rules. There are pre-gens. There will be pre-gens. Will be the 8th, 9th level. Pre-gens that was last used at GameCon last year. So it will be an interesting bunch of capable characters. So you will be up against some tough ones this month. So I hope that I can run over just if worst case come to show, so to speak. We'll see. We hopefully have the table for if you have it for at least 6 hours, so we can have some fun.
6
so it will.
Hours.
Yep, 6 hours. We might need it, so to speak. But and then hopefully I can put the crit wall map in my suitcase, so we can use that one too, and adventure on that one. So those are the big. And there will be a stream on Friday where I will. I'm not sure what I will work on yet. So it will basically fill in gaps for GaryCon right now. So might be if you come on a live stream Friday, you might see some stuff that I haven't shown anyone yet. That will be for you never know. So yep.
Oh, a live stream, but what?
No, my regular Friday stream.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep.
So very excellent, Anna. All right, so this is what's going on. So by the way, yes, I will have one with Gromit, so I can put a poll in it. But here's my little scooter flag for GaryCon. Yes, I got it. So woohoo! I'm gonna live it up. If I get it, if I'm gonna do it, I might as well go all out. So, yeah. All right. Here we go. Here. Tomorrow, a Rob Kuntz adventure being run. Started. 1,099. The adventure group Iron Fury out of GREYHAWK City in Cairn of the Skeleton King. Yes. Foam Lance, that's funny. So I'm tying this adventure in. Of course, it's in a cairn, so it's in the Cairn Hills. It's not far from Curtis's favorite place, Sourload. It's in that area of Fort Lamont, not far from the Doom Grinder, and the legend of the Skeleton King will tie into that somehow. So, we're talking multi-weeker. So, we'll do this on Thursdays with the group until we're done it. My guess is 4 to 5 sittings, 4 to 5 sessions. So we'll be off a week while I'm at GaryCon. So, it'll be the next 2 weeks for this, and then into GaryCon and into April. But remember, I'm going to be out for April for a couple of weeks probably because of my hip replacement. So, we're going to start that. I mean, that's Thursday. Saturday morning is my birthday, and my wife's working in the morning and afternoon, so I'm like, I got to do something. So we're doing a birthday stream. It will be adventure number 1100. Legends Do Return is the title. Whatever that means. So it'll be out of Altamira. I'm trying to hide anything. I don't want them being prepared for it, but it'll be fun. It'll be difficult. But we got Nuclear Meat here, so that's the group for that. So we'll have 6 characters total with the NPC on that one. That's 9 a.m. Okay. 9 a.m. Saturday morning. Yay. Such a bright and early for Curtis. Yes. No, it would be too early, Troy, because I just did Vampire Thrumble 2 weeks ago. This is going to be a legend. We'll go into some history of the area, the county, if you look at Altamira. Plus, I got a special miniature from Mike Disney coming. Hopefully, it comes tomorrow that I can utilize for this. All right, and then Sunday night, finishing off the week. Thanks, Garmin. Is Ed. We got Ed Greenwood Sunday night. We're going to talk myths, legends, and creatures of Greyhawk and the realms. Ed promises me 2 major monster types, one for Forgotten Realms, one for Greyhawk, brand new, lore-wise.
Awesome. Yep.
That's what he said. So, yep. Yeah, Curtis. So I understand the West Coast bound and all that, but yeah. So this will be a fun discussion from Ed. We haven't had Ed on for a couple months, so it'll be good. Plus, Ed and I need to talk to Ed about afterwards what we're doing for our seminar.
Yeah.
Just get things finalized, what we need as far as like pictures and things.
Yeah,
like
because
that.
It's sold out. Yeah.
Last year's was sold out too.
Yeah.
With
even my seminar is sold out too.
Nice.
So I'm
I didn't
like,
check the
wow.
Greyhawk one. How's the Greyhawk one?
It has a couple of tickets left, so yeah, there's still room. Yep.
Cool. That's what's going on. So let's see who wins tonight, shall we? We're gonna raid into that. I guess everyone's born in March.
Oh yeah, I'm born in March. My birthday will be like the day before GaryCon, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So you'll be with Josh's place.
Oh yeah, I've been there the last 5 years. I've had
Okay.
my birthday at GaryCon.
Yeah. So mine will be Saturday, but David Guild Superiors is today. So he's running the game now. We'll raid into them because raiding into his birthday stream. I think he's playing a more board game, so it'll be interesting. So here we go. Let's see who wins tonight. I am through the first 18 on the giveaways. The tubes haven't gone out yet for the Elmores. Elmores. I will get them out, I promise. But everything else is out. So or the sponsors who need to send them haven't Broomgale, Troller Games. So yeah, it's coming along. All right, let's see. Cloudbot giveaways. Let's see who wins tonight. Closing it out. Winner. Lord Fourth. There you go. Grats. How does Marklands and Vecna Reborn sound? Let me know. Lord Fourth. Marklands and Vecna Reborn. So hopefully everyone please hang in there and stick around for a large raid. That would be awesome. Going into Guild Superior. Thanks all for hanging. Like I said, I am caffeine withdrawal. Man, I didn't realize how bad headaches I get from this too. So it's weird. It's really strange. Mike, Anna, thanks. So
thank you, and thank you everyone for being here. Yeah,
Curtis. How about Friday? You around Friday night? Let me know. That would be a good time, or Saturday afternoon or something. Yeah, I need to do that with you. Okay, we'll do it one of those two. No, I can't do it. I'm hanging in there. I went cold turkey, and I probably shouldn't have. But I do when I decide get my mind on something. That's how I do it. I just what, I'm stopping. So, that's why I quit amphetamines. That's why I quit. I'm sorry. I'm doing airplane now. That's why I quit sniffing glue. Sorry. Some of you older people get it. All right. I'll see you soon. Everyone, see you tomorrow night. It'll be a fun game. Right. Have a good one. Mike, Anna, have a good one. See it.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, I hope it fades in a couple of days. Today was rough. Ugh. Raiding in. Nice. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Everyone enjoy. See you tomorrow night. Wow, big raid.
And yeah, the shields, they function.
Yeah, it's weird.
121.
Yeah.
Wow. That is great.